Well, I done a little digging today and got some nice looking veggies, a whole bunch of butternut, and there's some summer squash that surprised me, and summer squash is still producing, and I guess they will until they get zapped. As far as the pumpkins go, very little pumpkins, but not too many. What I mean is, and they're small, but the fact that they're volunteer from last year, hey, not a problem, huh? Banana squash is my favorite, and yeah, there's enough to have a good mess to last a while. And these butternuts, now my melons, you can see, whoop, I'll get out of the sun. These melons are, softball size, and they just didn't do any good this year. I didn't have enough light when I was, when I started them, and they paid the price, and so did I. These butternuts, most of them were vertical, and some of them were on the ground. And I noticed that they're not very big this year, and they were watered. Possibly the last 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, I don't know. We didn't water them at all, and that could have been critical for them. I don't know, but they're not as big as I'd like, what I've had. But this year's been kind of, kind of an off year anyhow. And you got to put up when it's good, and put up a lot of food when it's good, because those years when it's bad, you still want to eat, right? Well, these banana squash, just to give you an idea how big they are. That's my hat. And my head ain't that big, and neither are the summer squash, but I've had them 34 inches long this year. Be lucky to have 2 foot. But there's a good mess there, and when you're putting them up, you want to put them up where they have good aeration all the way around, and in order for them to last a while. And of course, a lot of folks will can it, and a lot of folks will freeze it, and that's what I've done in the past. Is I pretty much froze it, but I'm not going. I'm kind of backing off on that. I'm going to try to, and I'm going to try to get to where I'm canning and drying more, and freezing less, because you have to put out a lot of money on that freezer. So anyhow, garden's coming along pretty good. We've really gleaned a lot. This side over here on this wire fence, that's vertical fence inside my what will be a greenhouse, this side of it is a lot of volunteer, and then there's some that I planted, and there's some gems in there, some nice looking tomatoes in there, and so probably the last ones we'll pick, probably going to be those. They're still doing pretty good. They were the last ones being their volunteers, the last ones to get going, and obviously if they're the last ones and they're still producing, they will do pretty good, and there's some good sized ones in there. So okay, enough rambling. The garden's it's winding down, and so am I. So I'm sure trying to get everything picked, and this garden just hasn't stopped growing. It's going to be in the 60s today, which means that it's warmed up pretty good. The lawn's growing, everything's growing. I mean, it's warm enough for everything to grow. So, but it was supposed to be 32 this morning. I don't think it made it by the looks of the plants. I don't think it got zapped. So I'm still growing. It's a beautiful day. Sun's out. Just a few clouds in the sky right now. Later this week it's supposed to rain. But there's still plenty of food to eat, so hey, we'll see you at supper time.